Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. Kentucky, TL, the Wildcats, they're young. They have 8 freshmen in a league where all of these teams average 9 upperclassmen. They have 2 guys that are older than freshman or sophomore year, but they're talented, man. They got a lot of pieces. Some of them are injured. What do you make of the Wildcats?
Yeah, they're still really talented, and I kind of like where Calipari is going back to where he's comfortable, getting the most talented freshmen, bringing them in, let them be them, and we'll just figure it out from there. And he's added some, not added, but he hung on to some older pieces. Antonio Reeves is a really good player, and then you add Trey Mitchell, who has been a part of some winning teams. I like that he's going back to freshmen because I think power is going to eventually slide back to freshmen after these COVID years are done. That all being said, COVID years aren't done, and they're playing against 23 and 24-year-olds. I still think Kentucky's a top 20 team. I think they're going to win a lot of games, and I think these guys fit what Calipari likes to do much better than what the guys over the last couple of years have been able to do. And what do I mean when I say that? Transfers were great in a system. Freshmen, you get a bunch of guys who can attack off the bounce, and then his offense works. So I'm excited to see. I think they're going to be good. Do I think they're national championship winners? No, I don't. But I do think that this is a Kentucky team that wins a couple of games in a tournament.
I'm not ready to say that yet. And
I think they're a second weekend team. I think the talent's good, and I think he'll hone it just enough to where they'll be fine.
The talent is good. There's stars next to these guys' names. This is not an otherworldly freshman class. Mm-hmm. And let's acknowledge a couple of things here. Okay. Trey Mitchell was a quality pickup, but Trey Mitchell is on his 4th school in as many years.
Right.
All right. Sometimes there's a reason for that. Antonio Reeves is a good player. He's a good player. Having him back is a good thing for a team that I had a lot of concerns about with their perimeter shooting. I'm not worried about the ability of DJ Wagner and Robert Dillingham being able to coexist and figure things out. I'm more worried about who's going to be the point guard, the one, late in situations, initiating the offense, making plays for others, getting stuff done for this team, and being productive and efficient and avoiding turnovers. You've got to have high-level point guard play in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And that's just it. For me, Kentucky's a good team. The reason why I'm not sitting here, the reason why I didn't rank them in the preseason is because I have far more unknowns with this team than I have knowns with them. The other reason is Aaron Bradshaw's injury, while I think we're going to see him on the floor and play a significant role. Like, do I have concerns about that? Hell yeah, I do, because for freshmen, I want to see a preseason. I want to see you have weeks, months to train with your teammates to get ready for the season. And Cal was very, very high on him. So I could go down the list of different areas that I've got concerns. I love Justin Edwards. I think he's going to be fantastic for the Wildcats. I really do. I think Edwards could end up being their best player. But to me today, T.O., I'm not saying that I can't see them getting to a Sweet 16. The part of the reason why I'm voting no on that and pushing back on that is because of the Princetons of the world, the St. Peters of the world, combined with older teams winning in March. It's really hard to be one of the final 16 in college basketball nowadays. It's a lot harder now than it was before. And the fact is, Kentucky now competes in a league of great, not good, great coaching. Even the programs that have been bad, right? Chris Jans and Mississippi State, not a pushover. They're good. Missouri, no longer a pushover. Ole Miss, no longer a pushover. You got to find wins. You don't have teaching moments in the SEC for your freshmen. That league's a bear. Kentucky could finish 6th in that conference. Would I be surprised? Would you be surprised if they finished 5th or 6th in their own league? 4th, 5th, or 6th?
I picked them 6th in the Almanac. And I'll say this. I think in an ideal world, you would see a year that is similar to what Duke did last season, right? They took some lumps early. They figured things out around January and February. They got things going towards March, and they were a 5 seed that everybody thought had a chance to make a real run in the NCAA tournament. And they just ran into a Tennessee team that was too big and too physical and too tough for them. I think that could be similar to what Kentucky season could be, but that's pending a couple things. One, you got to get like one of Aaron Bradshaw, Ugonna Onyeso, or Big Z to the point that they can play, right? Or two, John Calipari's got to figure out a way that he can be effective playing small ball with multiple handlers, a 4-man that's going to be a stretch guy, maybe even Trey Mitchell at the 5, right? And I don't know if those two things will necessarily happen. Here's the other.
Big Z is good.
Yeah, he's good. Is he going to play? Is he going to be eligible? Like there's real concerns about whether or not that'll happen. My guess is that he probably will, and they'll just ding him a couple games. But I think that that's another question. It's just a question mark that you have, right?
Yeah.
Here's my other concern. With Duke last season, when they took their lumps early, there was not enough of a culture. There was enough leadership in that locker room that they did not fragment, and they stayed together and they kept pushing. And Derek Lively understood why he was coming off the bench and averaging 5 points a game. And Dariq Whitehead understood, like, okay, I was the number one player in the class, but I'm going to come in here and I'm not necessarily going to be the number one player on this roster, right? They were able to kind of stay together instead of falling apart when they took some of their losses. Do you trust John Calipari to be able to keep that roster of guys together? I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So if everything comes together, like, I can see this team getting to a Final Four. They have the talent and the ability to be able to do it if everyone stays healthy, if Big Z gets eligible, and they're able to make it through a rough November and December.
I can see it too.
I can also see them like not making the NCAA tournament because they just can't get the injuries right. Cal can't figure out how to play small modern basketball, and the freshmen looked like freshmen the whole year. Like it just the range of outcomes is just so wide with this Kentucky team that literally anything can happen now. I would not be surprised.
And they hired John Welch to help with the offense and the design of it and all of that. My thing with that is, don't you think that they would have done something before now to realize that they had to make a change? And maybe Cal's stubbornness is a thing. I mean, not maybe, it is a thing, and he wants to prove a point with how he plays. Look, the personnel line, Terrence, you brought this up, that he got back to where he's been most successful. Does the personnel align for them to be successful if all the pieces come into place? Yes. It's not a revelation, though, that Kentucky has talent. I mean, come on. They've had talent for years. They've had talent for years. The antithesis of Kenny Payne's quote. Okay? They can out-talent you on any given night. To me, the intricacies within the sport and the ability to win close games and the ability to grind it out are things that you cannot quantify in any stat sheet or in any analytics program. So I just, guys, every year we've been saying this for the last 4 or 5 years about what they can be or what they might be. And I'm on the other side of it. And a lot of kids, big Blue Nation hates me. I know that they hate me. I see it all. You've been tweeting and texting and everything in between, direct messaging for the last month and change, and they think we hate them. For the 70,000th time, we all want, if Kentucky's good, it's good for everybody. It's good for you, BBN. It's good for us. We want to talk about a winning Kentucky team, but you've got to prove something to me first. I'm not falling for the brand name again. Not with the amount of unknowns. And don't tell me that the experienced returnees are going to be great players this year that'll have great seasons. The All-American on this team is Justin Edwards, if there is one. Outside of that, like, they're talented, but do they have top 10 talent in the country on paper? I think a lot of people think that they do because of the freshman class. This freshman class in general is not outstanding.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It is what it is. It's going to depend on how well they can stick together and how well they can.
Hater.
All right, let's move on.
Sipping on that blueberry haterade.
I'm a hater, but part of it too is that when you move on here, the teams at the top of this league are old and freaking good.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.